Also on May 1, it is Seat Yourself Process Day.
What?
How about the email yesterday?
Oh, this is the email. Okay.
I don't know if so the email I thought you were referring to as the Pete Ricketts email.
Excuse me?
The Pete Ricketts
we
email.
got that too.
About
Pete Ricketts email?
Yeah, about
that the Cubs finished April 18-12, and I'm okay with it?
No, this is Pete Ricketts and U.S. senators that are calling for the Department of Homeland Security to protect international college athletes' access to name, image, and likeness. We like to call this the K-Say bill.
Okay, back to what am I most tired about? The NCAA getting sued, the portal, NIL, or Dion. No. Big news yesterday. Popped into my email box because
You are him.
I am going to look at moving seats from the South Stadium.
Okay.
Oh.
So yesterday,
big development for you.
Okay.
So now you know the email I'm talking about?
I haven't seen the email, but I know the story you're referring to.
So all season ticket holders got a email yesterday because it is Seat Yourself process that begins today. You can change or you can purchase new tickets. There's some pretty good availability in the stadium, but the other part of it is, and this is the bigger one, is Nebraska is changing sidelines.
Oh yes, we talked.
So
about
have you seen this?
I saw that they were changing sidelines.
So it changed. They used to be on the west sidelines. Now remember, Memorial Stadium used to have a track. So the stadium has changed a lot, but back in the 60s, they used to have a track that surrounded the field. Then Devaney got here, and they moved over to the east sideline, except for 1 year during COVID. The COVID season, Nebraska was on the west sideline, and I went to every game, and sitting upstairs, it took a little bit to get used to because I'd only known Nebraska being on the east sidelines. But as things have changed, Nebraska now comes out of a different spot with the tunnel walk, and it's very janky. You come out and you make a quick left. Instead of running where you were in the other corner, you would run out, and the sideline would be right in front of you. So this was something that Scott Frost brought up, but he never pursued. Matt Rule brought up right away, and Trev says, we're going to get this done. And now it is done. Nebraska football will be on the west sideline for the 2024 season and beyond. So they let season ticket holders know this because I imagine that's a weird. So, the TV cameras are over there.
Mm-hmm.
The sideline, from the sideline to the fence, is a lot tighter compared to the east sideline.
Yep.
You have a lot more room on the east sideline. I imagine that this whole process is going to lead to Nebraska redoing the field, maybe grass. And so you're going to have to change the sidelines, that they're going to have to get rid of some rows over on the West Stadium. Because let's be honest, if you are in the first four rows, I don't know how you ever see. I know I got a friend who loves his front row seat, and I'm like, you are absolutely crazy. So I think they're going to have to probably get rid of some rows. They're going to have to change where that fence is and kind of what they do over there. But they are moving to the West Stadium. For right now, ticket holders over there will not be impacted, but that will not be the case in the future. My question is, and this came up once we saw what Frost did during the COVID year, why did it take so long? Because it makes so much sense.
Yeah. And it's a great question. I have no clue why. It's not schematically that tough. You're going from one side of the field to the other, where, okay, you're still going to have to accommodate all the equipment that you're going to have over there, everything from, the sideline space that you need, what do they have? They have the big, like the big cases and everything, all the stuff that you would have regardless, that you have room there. I've never understood, especially in a time, and this is even before the Jim Harbaugh part of it and the sign stealing that happened, that this is college football, that they always do use that. And you're always looking for that type of competitive advantage, whether you make it known or not, that you're able to tip things off. You get that clear view across the way on the east side of it compared to the west side of it and looking straight down. I've never understood why it was something that was mentioned but never actually happened until someone said, yes, okay, we're finally doing this. Let's just do it right now. I don't know. I have no clue why they avoided it.
It's a smart play by Nebraska. It's a home field advantage. because of the weather. I mean, you're going to be on the east sideline. You're going to sit there and bake, especially in September, and you're going to be in the sun in October. But then, you got shadows. It changes. This is like a home field advantage, whether it be a competitive where you can't pick up somebody's signs or whatever. And I think that probably plays into it, maybe to a lesser degree with in-helmet communication. But this just makes sense. And we spent, because it was COVID, we spent time talking about this when they did it for 1 year. And I brought it up last year when you saw the new tunnel walk entrance. It's really awkward.
Yeah, because you go,
Yeah.
And so, well, should we just credit the tunnel walk now? That now you have
part of that.
They changed it, so now you have the direct path.
I think part of that and rule, like, hey, why aren't we doing this? And then I also think they're going to redo the surface.
Okay, I'm curious. That's interesting to me. By moving that, why that would actually lead to, because this was something that was brought up on Monday.
Because what I've been told, if you go grass, it's going to be a lot wider.
Oh, okay.
So the grass footprint would go out a little bit further. But they're going to, I imagine before this season, they got to do something with the west sideline, because where that fence is, there's not a ton of room over on that sideline, on the visiting sideline. And then, of course, the walkway. If you look at, there's all kinds of traffic behind there, along with the TV camera that goes back and forth from basically goal line to goal line. So they'll have to make some adjustments. I just think this is a smart play for, you're looking, what's the best home field advantage we can get with sun, weather, all of that kind of stuff, being on the west sideline. I just, now me being very curious wants to know what's the next step with what happens with that part of the stadium. Because I think 3 or 4 rows they're going to have to eliminate.
Now that I think about it, the amount of space between the front row on the west side and then where you actually do have that fence, because you do, and I actually noticed this on Saturday too, just seeing a lot of people, especially as people started filing out, walking around in that area. You have a lot of room that you can push that back. But as far as the seats itself, do you think you necessarily need to take a couple of those rows out if you're going to, do you have to go that big?
Because you're going to expand out. You got to make that sideline larger.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, you are taking people that are walking back and forth, and a TV truck is like on top of you.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point about the TV truck part about it, because that is where the access is going to be. I was thinking, hey, you could just move it all the way back, kind of like what you see at Kinnick or what you saw at, I think Oklahoma still has it, where the sideline goes right into the stands there. You can't necessarily do that. If you were able to, you'd have a lot of space just to take it back without even removing any seats. But yeah, you do have to have that.
Now, here's the other element that comes into play before we ever know what was going to happen with the South Stadium is you flip, the visitors are now on that side. And it makes sense where they come out of their tunnel, they run straight to the sideline. They don't make that, hey, we take 5 steps and we're, on our sidelines. Is the band and the students will be right behind the visiting bench now before they ever move to, if that's still the plan for them to move to the middle of the South Stadium.
By the way, are you looking at seats?
No, I would not. That's out of my price range.
Okay.
So not there.
So what are they doing for the Southies though? Did you guys get any kind of update?
No.
Okay. So that's what I hadn't heard, if there was any type of plan for the Southies, as you like to refer to yourself.
Get a T-shirt.
I am becoming a big fan of that 600 level.
It's nice. You got
it's the newest.
It's right there.
It's the newest level.
I know it's way up there.
I like it. Great view.
You say they took care of the bugs because of the LED lights?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the first year wasn't very good. Oh, I'm a fan up there. That
doesn't make you nervous being up that high.
I think the best part of that stadium is the East Stadium. Once you get up to the second level and all the way up to 600, I think East Stadium is the best place to watch a football game there.
After sitting up there, I'd have to agree with him.
It's a little high up there.
I've done south. I've done north.
Taste. Not because I need to be closer. I don't do well with heights at 45 all of a sudden. I don't know why.
No, I'm not judging.
It was not a thing 10 years ago. It wasn't anything, I think, 5 years ago. I was at Mile High.
2 miles high.
About 5 years ago. And we were essentially, if I really wanted to reach, I feel like I could hit the light bank.
That's
as we were going down into the first entryway into the upper area to go get a beer, I felt like I was walking on a straight downhill descent, and it freaked me out if I misstep that I would just fall into the field and I would plummet to my death. And I'm sure it wouldn't happen. Yeah. I don't know. The mind plays weird tricks when you get older and you are at certain heights.
It's like river.
I've never had that issue before where I feel like, man, I'm looking straight down. I'm not.
Old Yankee Stadium with that slope down there.
Oh, well, the worst is guaranteed rate in Chicago. The upper deck at White Sox games.
That's why nobody goes.
Among other things.
Yes. Well, among 6 and 23.
Yeah.
Evan Bland's going to join us. His thoughts on what happened last night downtown and what's ahead for Nebraska as they enter the month of May, which you still think they'll be back here in 3 weeks to play in the Big Ten tournament, which if they weren't, well, that discussion will be kind of interesting. We'll talk to Evan about that and other things. Brandon Vogel's still to come. It's Mornings with Sharp and Hanley on 16.